Welcome to Dental Unscripted, where Mike Dinzio and Paula Quinn break down the practice ownership journey, one episode at a time. Starting up, buying, and running a successful dental practice.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Dental Unscripted. I don't know if you're listening to this in the morning or maybe at night, but it's morning for Paula and I, and we're in the studio today talking about job descriptions. It's going to be a fun episode, and we're happy to be here, and we appreciate you listening and being part of our little community. But yeah, let's get into this. Paula, good morning. Welcome to the studio at whatever time this is. So guys, again, just as a reminder, please like, subscribe, share. It really does help. We don't do this for profit. We do it for you guys, and I think it helps. We get on a lot of phone calls every week with folks that are considering consulting, and maybe consulting's not for you, and that's totally fine. But I think the podcast does give you a lot of great information when you're going to buy, start, or run a practice. And it's just fun sharing ideas and topics and whatnot. And so liking us, subscribing, even giving us a Google review or whatever it is, Spotify review, it really does help the program. So
we'll take a Google review. I mean,
we'll take a good review. Paula, like we were thinking about doing this topic of job descriptions, and you are the one that really works in office with doctors, and as something as simple as job descriptions, it's kind of mind-blowing from someone like me sitting on the outside looking in, on how simple but important this is in every business, let alone every dental office. What do you see? Why is this important in a dental office?
Gosh, so many reasons. I think the first couple of reasons, it's, if there's more than one person up front or more than one person helping up front, I think that sometimes people can think somebody did something and it didn't get done. Mm-hmm. If we're all sharing in duties, it's like we're all verifying insurance, and all of a sudden the next day someone's not verified. There's a couple things that happen. Number one, somebody's not verified. It messes up our day. Number two, who do we go to? Whose fault is it? I'm going to say it's her fault. She's going to say it's mine. Doctor's going to just scratch their head and go do what they do. What are they going to
just get frustrated?
Yeah, they're not going to fire us over that. So I think, so that kind of is what happens when you don't have job descriptions. I also think that I'm going to say this a couple times throughout this, but I think that it mostly, less than what do I do throughout the day, it does two things. It manages my time, because up front it's very reactive. There's people coming in and out. People are bringing patients up to me. The phone's ringing. I'm scheduling. I'm constantly, unlike a dental assistant and a hygienist, who's sure things can change. It's very rare though, where up front it's like anything can happen at any moment. You could be bringing your patient up and the phone rings and I have to answer it. And now I can't even talk to the patient in front of me. So it's very unpredictable. So in that very unpredictable environment, in order to get your job done, you need a lot of predictability that you can count on. And when we put these in place, often many team members will argue, well, we all do it. So that's number one. Number two, it's, well, we can't plan because everything happens. So those are
Yeah.
just kind of some things. I mean, I want to dive into everything a lot deeper, but just based on that, I don't know if that sparks anything for you.
Yeah.
I
No,
kind
that's it. I mean, I think that kind of sets us up for a really nice, a really nice podcast. So, maybe for those that don't own a business yet and they're sitting back wondering, really, nobody really knows who does what. I think that's the first thing you said. So when you go into these dental offices, Paula, you're obviously seeing that there's some confusion on who
of
does who does what or who does what. Um, and I've been talking to my 7-year-old too much this morning. So like as simple as who does what, like how how, like is that's a real thing? That's a real thing. Go
oh,
in, people don't really know what they're supposed to do.
exactly. Well, I think, yes, the things that you're forced to do, answer the phone, schedule a patient, there's things you just have to do, you're going to do, but it's the things I think that drive the business that mean the most that either nobody's doing
Yeah.
or it's getting very little attention. And that's the big thing. There are things we do that of course keep the business afloat, but it doesn't drive the business.
Oh
And in
yeah.
order to drive results, you need a plan around it. You need a not necessarily a lead person, but an accountable person. You need a time management plan. It has to be super intentional, or
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. I always equate it to, like, let's say that you want to work out, grocery shop, pick up your dry cleaning. I mean, name 10 things off you want to do on a Saturday morning. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, if you don't write it all down, or in your head, you don't say, okay, cleaners open to 8. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go by the grocery store, make a grocery list, or you can even just compare it to grocery shopping. Are you going to get it done? Some of it, right?
Yeah. No,
Um,
totally. That happened to me yesterday. I was grocery shopping and I was on the phone and I had the list. I put it into my little Alexa.
you had a list.
I had the list. I had the job description. I had the list. But I was on the phone not checking the list. And guess what? I got 70% of it. But
Yeah.
now this morning I was making some breakfast and well,
And
shit, I
missing-
forgot the butter. Forgot the butter.
The eggs. And that's, but it's even worse. They're missing the eggs. It's
Mhm.
the big thing sometimes, because that phone kidnaps us. Those patients kidnap us. The team kidnaps us. And then those eggs that are probably the most important ingredient in the entire breakfast never gets done.
I
So
think
guess
that
what? You look up. Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I think look, guys, do not underappreciate this little segment of who does what, because the eggs are very important. Butter is kind of a minor ingredient. So of course I used olive oil and Charlotte said this tastes like crap. And she didn't say that, but she made a comment. The point here is that the results aren't as good, and doctors are constantly complaining to Paula and I about not hitting goal. Just yesterday, we heard an office not preparing the team for the chart or for the day. Not the huddle was not effective, and therefore they were not as productive. And like Paula said, the phones and everything's kind of getting done, but the eggs, the most important things in a dental office, the things that we need to be very intentional about to drive the practice's actual freaking goals to pay the bills are not getting done. The littlest things that are really big things, the eggs. So I think that's very good, because like it's so simple of having specific jobs for people, and it kind of goes, that pivots now to like responsibility, because if you do, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, Paul, and maybe you wanted to tie that last one up, but like without defining who does what, you can't hold people responsible. So sorry if I jumped the gun there.
No, not really. I might have gotten into it, but I think it all flows. I don't think it matters. I think I'm kind of gonna waterfall it backward, and I think the biggest results of not having it is empty schedules, low production, um, claim,
Money.
claims not getting paid on time, uh, patient statements not going out. Patients don't get statements on what they owe until, this is a whole nother segment, but until 3 months after they had their dentistry. You're here, we're waiting on a claim, then we get it. Nobody sends statements out on a regular basis. Here, I had my tooth fixed 3 months ago. Guess what? They didn't estimate appropriately. Now they send me a bill for $120, $300, $50. If it's 10, I might not be mad, but if 3 months has gone by and they send me a $325 invoice, I'm going to be like, what? Number one, even though we all know in the dentistry world, it's an estimate, but as a patient, I'm going to be like, why is it taking so long to get this? How do I even owe money? I'm not paying this. I've had this tooth fixed for 3 months now. Like all the weird things that people do when they owe you money. So it's just really important that the impact, the domino effect of not having specific job descriptions, not having, like you saying, somebody responsible, and then not having time slots in our day, time management in our day is really detrimental to a practice. So basically, we're just waiting for the month to fall upon us, and we just cross our fingers that we have a good month. And the funny thing is even doctors that have a good month, could they have a 10 times better month? They're just used to that. So that's status quo now. It's like, oh, well, we do about X amount. If you were intentional, like I use the grocery shop list where I mean, I know this is crazy for a Saturday morning, but I put 8 o'clock dry cleaner, 8:30 grocery store. Here's my grocery list. 10 o'clock, whatever that is, 11 o'clock, whatever that is. I'm going to get every one of those things done. I'm not going to get 70% of my grocery list. I'm going to get 100. And I'm going to feel so accomplished in a much shorter amount of time. Yeah. I mean, everyone's left their house before and they've had 6 errands to run and they realize they drove 15 minutes this way, 10 minutes back this way, only to drive 8 more minutes back up to where you were an hour ago. Yeah. Same with the groceries, right? You go down that aisle where the bread is, but you don't grab bread. And then you go and you're like, oh, I need bread, and then you're back in the aisle. So you're
inefficient.
Yeah, you're back in the grocery store. You're there for an extra 20 minutes. So it's just super important. I mean, I can't express it enough.
So I think that's great. I think like we work with a lot of startups, right? And those startups typically start out with impeccable job descriptions. Well, I'm just saying that like
they have them.
And my point is they might be more intentional than an office that's doing $1 million because every dollar, every opportunity matters to a startup. But if you ran your business like a startup, it's kind of funny. We talk to a lot of practices that buy or have been in business for many years. Ironically, they have things to learn from the startups because the startups come out desperate, and desperate's an aggressive word, but like just trying to seize every single opportunity. And my point to this is that as the startup gets busier and busier and busier, things start falling apart. They stop putting the descriptions together. They don't redefine often as the business grows, or you hire someone, you don't redo the job descriptions, reorganize things. Like you just kind of grow, and that's another big pitfall is number one, not having them. But if you have them, in a year, a startup needs to break it down again because we have 2 more team members because they grow. And so that's what happens is businesses just kind of hire and people quit or they grow. And then it's just not very intentional. So who does what is very important. But as a leader, for me, it's it's if you don't have that, you can't go up to the employee and say who's responsible for this mistake. It's not that you're going to berate them or punishing them, but when everybody, like you said, Paula, is just kind of pointing and it's her fault, or no, it's her fault, you can't really hold anybody accountable. It's like, okay, that's my fault now that you two don't know that your job is and your job is. So for a leader, do this often so that you can hold your team responsible and accountable. And as you grow, you need to do it often and frequently. And by the way, like, that's the biggest thing that we see as consultants is the lack of leadership in holding people accountable, aka responsible for their job description, is the number one reason why I think practices don't grow. I don't know. Do you disagree or agree with that comment? And also how do job descriptions really, how does it help you become easier to make people responsible for what they're supposed to be doing?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things there. I think you're 100% right, because as a dentist, if you're a dental owner, which most are, as a dentist, you're very busy. You're back in a chair with your face in somebody else's face. And besides doing maybe a hygiene exam, or, somebody's waiting to be seated and you're numbing someone else, whatever, you hopefully aren't getting a ton of time. Another segment, or we can talk about it later, but on top of that, we definitely recommend docs have admin time, because you don't get time, but you count on your team a lot. You can't sit up and make those reactivation calls, those unscheduled treatment calls, make sure statements. I mean, you don't have enough time in the day unless you stop 2 hours early every day and you sit down and you are a total admin and go through everything yourself. And that's not going to happen. Number one, most dentists don't have that ability. They don't have that knowledge that the front has. And number two, they don't have the time. That's lost money if they shut their practice down. They could do another crown prep, whatever, in that time. So you very much rely on your team to drive the engine of your business. It's more team than anything. You're the doer.
Yeah.
But someone's got to bring, it's almost like they're the doer and the team's the salespeople in a way. It's the sales team, the follow-up team, the people who because I'm the front office, I'm answering the phone. I drive whether the new patient schedules or not, correct? Then I drive the cancellation and no-show to make sure my patients show up for the doctor and the hygienist. Then if anything's diagnosed, I'm responsible to call to make sure that, or before they leave, get them on the schedule. If not, call. So think about all the revenue I am driving. Then I've got to submit the insurance, which is how the doctor and the team gets paid. If something's incorrect, I have to make sure I'm on top of it to correct it so the insurance can pay. I got to collect from the patient. And if the insurance doesn't pay what's expected, I'm now a collection agency and I have to go get the money. So I am literally running this doctor's practice for him or her.
Yep.
I can't do it without them. They're the producers, but it's a lot of responsibility we put on these, sometimes experienced, sometimes non-experienced. Sometimes they learn from just rando. We usually have a name for Mary Beth up front, Susie Joe, whatever her name is.
Susie
Been in
Joe.
a practice for 40 years. Now I come along, there are some, obviously Next Level does it. There is some formal training, but it's not very common that a front office, like a hygienist or a dental assistant, goes to a school and learns every intricacy, but yet they have so much control of the practice. It's crazy.
So would you say this job description topic is the biggest issue in dental practices is at the front?
Yeah, but I think I'm talking about that the most, but I think there's plenty of things that a hygienist and dental assistants can do to help support the front and drive stuff themselves. I mean, they
Yeah.
can schedule from the back, but I think the thing about the front, because doctors, it's very foreign to doctors, is there has to be a job description. There has to be the expectations in order of priority.
Mm.
So as a dentist, what's important to me, Paula, up front, that you are making sure, because everything else has to happen. But I'm not okay if these 5 things don't happen every week or every day, depending on what it is. And I think that if they aren't as efficient as you want, there needs to be training around those key things that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to have a system that you can check on me. So let's just use unscheduled treatment as an example.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a system, you don't know if I'm doing it. I'm going to tell you I'm doing it. Yeah, I don't know. I called 15 people and no one wanted to schedule.
Right.
So now our schedule's empty. You don't know if I called. If I did, what did I say? So I think having this sets both me as a front office and doctor up for success, because we use these job descriptions to manage time, to find out where the gaps are in knowledge. And then we recommend at minimum quarterly check-ins. And I'm going to evaluate how I feel Paula is doing based on what we decided was important.
Mm-hmm.
So as a, I was talking to a dentist the other day who just bought a practice, and I said, welcome to the world of ownership. I don't know if you know this, but you are now a manager, a babysitter, a salesperson, a business owner, a dentist, and a marketing, a marketing person. So the days of being on the corner, being the only dentist in town. I mean, my dentist, I think I told you before, he would have a cigarette. He'd put it on his desk with cigarettes in his pocket, a thing, go in with no mask, no gloves, see a patient, come back, grab a cigarette, smoked in the practice. I mean, you can't do that anymore.
And that literally is where we've come from. Like, you easily could still be in the chair right now, easily. Yeah. So like, that's where some of your colleagues and of your tenure started. And this is where we're at today.
And the same person. So I always say to, especially my new buyers, and this isn't about new buyers, is they don't have the loan that you have now. That business may even be paid off. And by the way, if Mary Beth and Josie Ann and whatever have been there long enough, those wages are probably not very high either. They're going to go up if you have to hire someone new or you acquire a practice. So it is very important that you understand you now run a business. It is a business. It is a service industry, but it is a business. And so you have to, just like Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, whatever you want to. I went into Mercedes yesterday and it was impeccable. I was so impressed of everything that happened. It was crazy. I was sitting there, my wheels were spinning about dentistry in the moment that it happened. So I think that if you do not have job descriptions, you do not hold your team accountable, you do not have blocks of things for them to do it, and they have to be prioritized in the way that you feel is important, the things that drive the needle for the practice.
That's really important.
It's a myth.
Don't say that too fast.
Okay, well, go ahead.
There's so many job descriptions that like the tasks themselves. You could spend the time, take this podcast and really implement. You could do all the job descriptions and, okay, Nancy, Joe, you do these things, and Kimberly, Joe, you do these things, and you both need to answer phone calls, but insurance is your responsibility. Filling the schedule is yours, blah, 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 all the things. But then that part right there where you said prioritize is oftentimes what I see these workers, your support team, they just don't have any grasp of like why filling the schedule is more important than fighting a $30 claim for 2 hours. Like that they literally don't have that ability to know that I should probably not be on the phone for 2 hours fighting a $30 claim, even though I really want to get that $30. And they should pick up the phone and fill the 2 cancellations. They don't know that. So prioritizing these tasks, because you said it fast. I wanted just to say that out loud, that like, God, like I don't see that happening.
And then when you get new technology, like you said, I love it. You said that my brain wasn't there, is revising it. I had an office, I think it was yesterday, Wednesday, tell me nobody checks the chat. You know, they implemented a platform where patients can now text. No one's checking it.
No one's checking it. Like, the chat bot isn't working.
Yeah, you know, no one's communicating with the patient. So you think, I mean, it sounds silly, but when someone doesn't pay the bills, I was a dental assistant and a hygienist before I owned my dental practice. I'm a Gen X. I mean, we'll probably get a lot of hate mail, but I don't know if there's harder workers than a Gen X. And it's, yes, individually, anyone could be a hard worker, but I'm just saying as a generation as a whole, we came after an era where it was just what we did.
No BS, just get it done. No BS.
I always, I mean, you know, from a little child, you know, like by the time I hit 13, I had side jobs, side hustles. Maybe it's just me and I'm weird, but all my friends from the Midwest are like that too. The reason I bring this up is because I really do feel like I had ownership when I work for somebody. I love what I do. I reschedule patients. I try to, you know, discuss flora. I do all the things that I hear people tell me to do. But there is nothing like being the one that pays the bills. Your eyes are open in a different way. And I'm not talking them into anything they don't need. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just much more creative. I'm much more on top of it. I follow through. I follow up, because now when that patient doesn't schedule, it isn't like, oh, well, they said call them in 5 months, or, oh, they'll call us. No, I have a plan around that. And I am not waiting on that patient to call me back.
Yeah.
Because that patient annual value could be anywhere between $500 and $1,200. If that patient's not coming, you know.
So I guess I wasn't expecting this episode to go super long, but it actually is really important. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that, because
I mean, really haven't even talked about the job descriptions or what we do.
I mean, we have, but it's kind of taken a different turn. And that is that there's also this like responsibility that's not there. And it shows up in lots of different companies. It could show up in ours. It could show up in dental offices. It could show up in Mercedes. And just because you create a job description doesn't create a desire to fulfill it. How do I say this? If you have the job description and then you create priorities, the employee still has to like give a shit about the priorities. And the owner, what you just said, as the owner, you were like, oh my God, like I'm collecting the money. I'm filling the schedule because I'm the owner and I can't pay my bill if I don't do this. It's that desire and like drive that an owner has that a front, like sometimes workers don't. And when we walk into offices and there's a front office gal or guy that does care, they're like an anomaly. It's like, holy crap, you care more than the owner. Like you're like gold. You might have some deficiencies, but I will take that over any deficiency you have. Where we have a lot of employees that, and we might have some listeners or some clients that do have job descriptions, do have the priorities set, but the people don't give a shit. They don't have this desire to move the needle. It's a job. That's a job.
Well, I do think people do innately have a desire to please, though. And I think, will they ever be you? No. But I think that if you're clear, concise, set expectations, and follow through, people will tend to do way better. If they know you're just full of this and no one's ever going to check, and you complain, and then they do it again and you complain, and it just gets, they kind of get away with it. I don't know if I don't want to say they're intentionally getting away with it, but they're just going to keep doing it because there's no repercussion. There's no, it's almost like when people, you have a great raw meeting and then nothing comes of it. It's like, why are we having these meetings type thing? So I do think that if you can set the job descriptions, you can set your priorities and expectations around those.
Mm-hmm.
You set them up for success. If there's any tools they need, whether it's verbal skills, a Dentrix lesson, whatever. And then you yourself learn some, not everything,
as the owner,
but learn your KPIs so that if your accounts receivable, if your fluoride enrollment, if your whatever isn't there, that you at least can say, hey, this doesn't look right. What's going on?
Yeah.
They're going to appreciate that a lot more than just blah, 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 blah. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's, show me you care. And so I don't know. I don't think we definitely start in offices with front office, because I say it's a domino effect. If we're not set up front, the success of the back is never going to happen anyway, because as a hygienist, I can't even quote a fluoride fee if we don't have great insurance verification up front.
Yeah.
So we start there because we want the front of the house solid, but it's just as important for dental assistants and hygienists as well. Yeah. I get paid as a hygienist, depending on the state, anywhere from probably 40 an hour to 72 an hour. And I know it's a big swing. But you have to think about, if my schedule's empty 3 times a day, even if I'm $40 an hour,
mm-hmm.
not only is doctor paying my salary, but he or she is losing that production on top of it. So I have to, at least if I'm not helping keep my schedule full, I should have priorities on what can help move the needle in the practice as well. I can't sharpen my instruments every day. I can't, get caught up stocking my room. That doesn't help.
Order dental supplies every day.
Yeah, that doesn't help the practice. We need to do those things, but that should be last on the priority list compared to, we just lost out on this revenue, pay these wages. How do we avoid this? Or how can I help not the rest of the day not do it? But anyway.
I love that. Well, we got a question from a colleague of mine in the dental space, and I appreciate the question, Craig. Good to have you listening, buddy. So there was a question, and it's a good one. How do job descriptions and responsibilities change from a startup compared to an existing office? I'm gonna give that to Paula. I have my answer, but I think you help doctors set up and hire teams as the startup coach on the back end. I'm on the front end, you're on the back end. So you help these docs hire and set up these job descriptions, and then you also coach, now $4 million practices. So how would you answer that?
Well, I think the biggest difference is the job descriptions, the protocol, the accountability, the time management needs to all be the same. The difference is usually an existing practice has more than one person that can do it. So the accountability will go to, what I love about practice management with existing clients is we can kind of have a scheduling coordinator and a treatment coordinator and sometimes a financial coordinator. So most of the time we have to combine them into two, but we can separate those. When you're a startup up front,
there's a lot of
you kind of have to do it all, and you have to do it now unless you're outsourcing some stuff. that it takes me into a lot of other things and I won't go there. But I think that is the biggest thing. And
it has to be that way, because financially, when we get clients that say, I'm going to hire a hygienist, or I need to bring over my scheduling coordinator who's amazing, or I have this dental assistant, but she's kind of a princess, but she's amazing at helping me prep my teeth. No, like as a startup, you have a wage budget that Michael will give you that you have to hit, and you can't hire a bunch of people, even though you want to, and your brain is like, oh my gosh, we're going to see 40 patients today. No, we're going to see 40 patients in a month, and you're going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs. And so everybody does have to be a floater, cross-trained.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you mean?
That's what I was going to say. I love when we can get a front office and then a dental assistant that's cross-trained that can help when there's some downtime. I think the hardest thing today, totally different subject, is it's hard to find people with experience in today's world. A lot of people struggle. And when those startups, it's imperative. It is so imperative, because you don't know what you're doing. Everything counts. But yeah, I think that's the biggest difference, is you get the luxury of more than one person. And like you said, Michael, it's good when you do want I like to even practice management clients, existing dental practices that many people are cross-trained. I love cross-trained. It's the way to go in today's world. If somebody calls in sick, guess what?
Yeah.
And
that you know what's funny is, I know where Craig's coming from. He's probably thinking of like that $4 million practice, and that is the black and white difference. But I will tell you, and we got to probably shut this episode down because everybody's made it to work by now. But I will tell you right now that most offices, when I was at Bank of America, the average practice collections was around $800,000. It was like $700,000 to $800,000 was the average. Okay, and that's just across the board. At 800 or 700,000, you really don't have a lot of employees, or shouldn't have a lot of employees still. I mean, Paula, you managed about that size. How many employees did you have?
One front office, one dental assistant, an associate dentist, and I did bring on another.
You were the floater. Oh, and then a hygienist.
I did have a hygienist. Eventually I brought on two. But those are producers.
So if you discount the doctor, you had 1, 2, 3, you had 4, including yourself as a floater. So 5, including the dentist, 4 total. So 4 employees. That's it.
But I ran a very, very long time on 3.
Yeah, that's true. And you outsourced. So there's that. That's that.
Eventually, I didn't.
Not at first. Yeah. So like, that's the point, is like that. I mean, even at 800,000, which is the national average, cross training is very important, because you still should only have 4 employees, give or take. So yeah. I think that's a great question. Thank you, Craig, for listening. Any last comments? I know we kind of running over, but I like, such an important thing for small businesses to really dig in on all the tasks that need to happen, prioritize those tasks, and then you can hold people responsible. But if you don't, and
have those performance reviews, have those check-ins. Don't, even if you don't know what you're saying to the front office person, you have to have those check-ins. What's working, what's not, your expectations for the next quarter. It's the only way you're going to grow. Be intentional, and they're your team. Yeah, they're your team. If you treat them like team, I think they'll act like team.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, guys, tune into the next episode of Dental Unscripted. We always appreciate you listening and participating, like Craig did today. So if you see a live, if you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you can actually ask us questions live like Craig did today. But listen to us on your own time, whatever. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a good day, Paula. Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Let us know how you like the show. Rate us on Apple and Spotify. Subscribe and follow for more.